by Ryan Heath. Send tips here. Subscribe for free. Listen to Playbook's EU Confidential podcast view in your browser. The week powerful. What is it with many of the West's most powerful countries these days? Their political elites keep providing, and their citizens keep barely electing people unable to govern. Scandal is no longer the source of the political drama, but aimlessness. Even masters of the game like Angela Merkel are catching the virus, thanks to her coalition-building failure, leaving her gravely wounded. Merkel joins Theresa May and Donald Trump today, and François Hollande and Matteo Renzi before them, as theoretically powerful leaders of powerful nations unable to get much done. Middle powers and growing economies, from Spain Mariano Rajoy to Australia Malcolm Turnbull, are stuck in the same boat. France's Emmanuel Macron has so much executive power and rests atop a parliament so new. The majority of MPs were elected in 2017, he doesn't count as part of the sample. The upshot: a weekend Berlin is bad news for the entire EU, writes Matthew Karnishnig. Around the EU Institutions Commission Annual Growth Survey. Today, European commissioners meet this morning to discuss national budgets, and to outline the most pressing economic and social priorities on which the European Union and its members need to take remedial action in 2018. The process is shrouded in secrecy and will be accompanied by a mountain of fact sheets. Expect national reactions and political interests to dominate any Europe-wide angles. Do EU countries actually implement EU budget recommendations? RAND Europe. For the European Parliament looked at whether national governments follow the country-specific recommendations the European Commission sets for them each year. It also concluded it's unclear whether the EU's own spending helps countries meet their EU budget recommendations. Upgrading civil protection. Commissioners will also adopt changes to the EU civil protection mechanism after several natural disasters, including forest fires and floods, hit Europe in recent months. A message from GasNaturally. Gas is the first choice for home heating for over 120 million Europeans and is one-third the cost of electricity. Natural gas is a cost-effective way to reduce emissions in electricity production. It is one of the most affordable, flexible and energy-efficient solutions to achieve a clean energy future. Commission, Women on the Rise, slowly. A Commission official told Playbook sister German language newsletter Morgen Europa that Commissioner Gunther Oettinger will announce that today 36% of the Commission's top and middle management staffers are women. Juncker promised that by the end of his term he would lift the ratio to 40% from 31%. Council, Provisional GEOBLOCKING deal, emissions, startup summit. Amid all the fuss about EU agency relocations Monday night, Playbook was probably not alone in missing that ministers agreed on a new system to limit the blocking of digital content based on where it is consumed. Today, when EU ambassadors meet, the Estonian presidency told Playbook they will agree on revisions to the EU emissions trading scheme. The Estonian EU presidency is also hosting a Startup Nations Summit today in Tallinn. Parliament, HIGHLEVLEUAFRICA conference today. The real summit may be in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire, November 29-30, but that isn't stopping the European Parliament from promoting the debate on the Brussels side today. The event kicks off at 2 p.m. with top draws: European Parliament President Antonio Tajani, Chairman of the African Union Commission Moussa Faki Mohammed, and President of the Central African Republic Faustin Archange Touadera. Opinion: Africa's young people need inspiration, by Shada Islam. EU agencies, meet the real winner of Medicines Agency relocation. Guido Rossi, the head of the European Medicines Agency, found strategic ways to ensure the preferences of the agency's staff for the new host city were known, report Sarah Wheaton and Carmen Pon. He's now very popular. Party people, verhofstadts firm named in Paradise Papers. Guy Verhofstadt, the liberal group leader in the European Parliament, sat on the board of Belgian shipping firm Exmar between 2010 and 2016, earning €60,000 per year. Exmar used an offshore company mentioned in the recent Paradise Papers. The company's board of directors also includes Howard Gutman, former U.S. President Barack Obama's ambassador to Belgium. Lawrence Arulis reports. ECHR, Berlusconi vs. Italy. Get ready for Silvio Berlusconi versus the Italian government at the European Court of Human Rights at 9:15 a.m. today, when the court holds its first hearing on the former Italian PM's appeal against a ban on running for public office as a result of a 2013 tax fraud conviction. Berlusconi wants a verdict before Italy's next election, due by late May. What would a pro-Berlusconi judgment mean? The court will say only whether the case violates the European Convention on Human Rights. If there is a violation, Italy will have to take steps to put it right. Register today for free to the 19th edition of the EU Studies Fair, the largest education and networking event in Europe focused on graduate and postgraduate programs in EU studies, international relations, business, economics, public policy and law. The fair will take place in Brussels on Saturday, February 10, 2018. Get the chance to meet the world's best academic institutions, and participate in other exciting activities such as the EPSO and Brexit seminars. Contact us for more information on the event. Wonk Corner: Can EU funds promote rule of law in Europe? A new report by gasnaturally with Ian Bond and Carl Dolan for the Center for European Reform. China Syndrome: The EU lags behind all other major industrialized nations in its response to China's investment explosion in Europe-sensitive sectors, according to political consultancy Rasmussen Global. Its new research, led by Jonas Perello-Plessner, shows since 2008 Chinese investments in the EU jumped tenfold. Only 12 EU countries out of 28 have investment screening systems. The report argues for obligatory national investment screening mechanisms and an EU definition of strategic sectors. Anders Fogh Rasmussen welcomes a tepid European Commission investment screening proposal but blames an unholy alliance of member states dependent on Beijing's largesse and free-trading northern states, who he says are seeking to block it. Playbook interview: Hermann Hauser, chairman of the EU's high-level group of innovators, the European Research Council, launched in 2007, has a global reputation for excellence, making it one of the EU's uncontested success stories. Now European Commissioner Carlos Moedas wants to replicate its success with a European Innovation Council pilot worth €2.7 billion for 201,820. Playbook spoke to Hermann Hauser, the chairman of a high-level group of innovators convened by Moedas to make recommendations on how the EIC should work. Hauser has been involved in all 8 of the EU's long-term research programs dating back to the 1980s. The new council's approach is to empower the innovator. Our research in Europe is as good as anyone's. It's our ability to translate the results into economic impact that's the problem. We need a bottom-up program, where the only selection criteria is the quality of project put forward to the EIC, Hauser said. To get there, Moedas and the Council are pushing not only the usual EU grants, but guaranteed loans and support for venture capital via a fund of funds that makes money available to firms to invest in long-term projects, not just the latest app. We have only 1/5 the venture capital as the US does, said Hauser, yet we know we have a phenomenal entrepreneurial class. For the first time in 30 years, the very top people graduating Cambridge want to join a startup, which is a huge cultural change. His message to Brussels: help the money catch up with homegrown European ideas. Digital politics: Facebook and Google put on charm offensive Tuesday night. Facebook fans hit the corporate photo booth at the behemoth's biggest Brussels social occasion yet, and tonight Google's YouTube presents its smooth annual effort to get to know and cuddle up to EU decision-makers. The party at Beaux-Arts is called Europe on Stage and will be attended by hundreds of mostly mid-level officials who make day-to-day decisions on the policy files Google cares most about. EU National News: Germany, 51% want new election, CDU polling below 30%. Most Germans would rather vote again than have a minority government, according to a poll. Meanwhile, Der Spiegel reports that for the first time ever, Merkel's conservative CDU-CSU is polling below 30%. The center-left SPD would attract 19% of voters, while the Liberals on 13.2% are up since the September election. Germany opinion: in defense of Christian Lindner, Konstantin Richter argues the Liberal leader's decision to break off coalition talks is good for German democracy because in times of change, democracy also needs debate and dissent. Hungary: how Brussels led Budapest to Pax. The European Commission chose to broker a global political solution with Hungary over its controversial Russia-backed Pax 2 nuclear power station rather than escalate a fight with Budapest, according to internal documents seen by Politico's Sarah Stefanini and Nicholas Hurst. More than 200 pages of Commission memos, emails and meetings minutes from 2016 show that officials expressed serious doubts about Hungary's attempts to justify awarding the contract to build Pax 2 to the Kremlin and Rosatom before ceding ground for political reasons. It dropped the case in November 2016. The story, including a timeline and links to the documents, is available for Politico Pro Energy and Environment subscribers here. Romania: Senate greenlights NGO law. The Romanian Senate passed a bill that will force NGOs to reveal more details about their financing, including the names of donors. More from Romania Insider. HT Lily Bear Spain, FIGHTBACK open letter. After around 100 academics wrote an open letter earlier this month claiming Madrid violated the rights of Catalans during the October constitutional crisis, Francesc de Carreras and Josu de Miguel, professors at the University Autonomous of Barcelona, respond in this letter. Slovenia government could fall over a refugee. The case of a single 60-year-old Syrian refugee, who has learned to speak Slovene and integrated into his community, could see Prime Minister Miro Cerar ousted, writes Andrew Retman. Czech Republic. Police continue to pursue PMELECT. Czech police have asked the country's parliament to lift the immunity of prospective PM Andrej Babis, which would allow him to be prosecuted for fraud charges, Reuters reports. UK budget May Day. The Telegraph reports Theresa May's relationship with Philip Hammond is close to breaking point after Downing Street took control of a last-minute budget briefing amid fears Wednesday's financial statement will fall flat. Number 10 ordered the Treasury to rush out an announcement on schools after alarm bells started ringing over the lackluster build-up to the most important budget of Mrs May's premiership. Hammond will deliver his budget based on an unknown Brexit. The UK Chancellor will deliver his 5-year plan today, neither knowing the cost of the UK's divorce bill, nor how much the country will continue to pay into the EU's coffers. But there are signals showing the British government's assumptions about the direction of travel for those who know where to look, writes Tom McTighe. Brexit 360 degrees. Theresa May is likely to make her upgraded financial offer Friday. May will speak to European Council President Donald Tusk on the margins of the Eastern Partnership Summit, The Times reported. EU ambassadors meet today to discuss their next Brexit steps, which could include another round of negotiations in early December ahead of the Leaders' Summit December 15. Merkel's woes make Brexit harder for London. British politicians schadenfreude over the collapse of German coalition talks will be short-lived, write David M. Hirschenhorn and Matthew Carnish-Nigg. Chancellor Merkel, the EU's most prominent leader, was perhaps the one person in Europe who could have single-handedly shifted the position of the EU 27 and the overall dynamic of the Brexit negotiations, but Merkel is now in no position to make any bold moves. Merkel and her caretaker government will need to take shelter in a position of firm solidarity with the rest of the EU 27. Podcast du jour. Peter Mandelson, the former European Commissioner, speaks to Paul Adamson about the Irish Brexit question and how the embers of the Remain campaign can stay alive. Brussels corner traffic jam. Nation Belgium set a new record Tuesday at 8 a.m. with 445 kilometers of cumulative traffic jams, equivalent to a row of cars stretched from Arles near Luxembourg to the Flemish seaside city of Knock. You're invited to celebrate St. Andrew's Day in Brussels. Dance at a traditional Scottish ceilidh. There will be a live band, dance instructors and bubbles at the Maison du Pupil, Parvis St. Giles, November 24. Tickets are €15 on the night or €12. See Caledonian Society of Brussels on Facebook for details. Birthdays: MEP Ska Keller, Sophie Montel and Elizabeth Costinger. Katrina Murray of the Australian Embassy. Italian Prime Minister Paolo Gentiloni turns 63. Spotify's Eleanor Flanagan. Playbook couldn't happen without Quentin Aries and Zoya Sheftilovich. Thanks to Milan Nick, Bertrand Mossiat, Katie O'Donnell, Andrew Hanna. A message from Gas Naturally. Gas is Europe's smart choice for heating. It offers consumers affordable, reliable, efficient and flexible heating and cooling. Innovative gas technologies, e.g. Microc, can facilitate the introduction of renewable energy into the heating system. It is also possible to combine efficient gas boilers with solar panels extracting heat from the sun, for heating with even lower emissions. In power generation, switching from coal to gas can reduce emissions by around 40%. The switch from coal to gas is an important instrument to increase energy efficiency, reduce CO2 emissions and improve air quality. Check the visions of Gas Naturally member Eurogas of how to achieve energy efficiency with gas technologies. Gas Naturally, a platform composed of 6 associations from across the whole gas value chain in Europe, IOGP, GIE, Eurogas, NGVA Europe, GERG and Marcogas, promotes the role of gas in making a clean future real. Subscribe to the Politico newsletter family. Morgan Europa, Brussels Playbook, London Playbook, Sunday Crunch, Brussels Influence, DC Playbook. All our Politico pro-policy morning newsletters.